Hello and welcome to Just Hoops. The Denver Nuggets have been clicking lately, and a huge part of their recent success has been at the offensive end of the floor due to the two-man game of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. To look at Denver's offense first, they're averaging 116.3 points per game on 1.029 point per possession with a third offensive rating of 115.1. This duo has been a major part of their offense clicking lately. Now let's look at their duo, starting with Jamal Murray. Jamal's averaging 15.5 points per possession, 4.5 assists. Points per possession while in the half court is 0.891. Points per possession in the pick and roll as the ball handlers is 0.927. He's been starting to find a rhythm lately coming off the injury, and now it's really helping Denver's offense propel and really putting them in the rankings at the top of the West. Now to talk about the two-time MVP, Nikola Jokic. He's averaging 21.8 points per game, 8.5 assists on 1.103 point per possession in the half court and 1.381 point per possession in pick and roll as a roll man. He is essential to this offense and is doing what he has done throughout his career at this end of the floor. But in this video, we're going to dive in and break down the two-man game of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. So let's dive into the film. First, let's look at the spacing that allows this two-man game to flourish. So in this clip here against Boston, we'll see a great example of how their flat backline spacing allows it to be successful with the four-man floating the strong side porch and the corners loaded. This next example here against San Antonio, we'll see the same thing. The four-man floats to the porch on the strong side and the corners are loaded, allowing there to be two-man action at the top of the floor without added help or pressure from the defense. They also run empty side sometimes also with three guys wide, and this allows shooters to space and also put guys in position to cut, slash, and just make plays off the ball. And this last example, you'll see a lot of this out of their actions as we dive into that next. But we'll have three guys on the strong side in triangle spacing, I like to call it. We have two guys wide on the outside and the big loading the strong side porch. So now let's dive into the actions that allow the offense to easily flow into these two-man games. Here we're going to get a great example of their flex action where Jokic will have it on the elbow, Jamal will be the screen setter for the flex cut, and then it will flow into a get action, immediately getting into their two-man game. Here we'll have the two-man game on the strong side of the floor with three guys weak in that triangle spacing we talked about earlier. Here against Utah, we have another example of a Horns where Jamal will come, slip the flex screen, and play two-man game on the strong side of the floor with three guys spaced weak side. Here we're going to get an example of their rip into a get action. Jamal sets the rip screen for Aaron Gordon, comes off hard at the get, and this is another way that Mike Malone uses Jamal Murray as a screener to flow into their two-man game. And here against San Antonio, we're going to get another example of their rip into a get action, allowing the two-man game to have the proper spacing and also free Jamal up to get an easier get to the handoff. Also, they allow there to be on-ball actions like here, a pistol variation to free up the side of the floor and allow Jamal to easily get into a two-man game with Jokic on the strong side with three guys weak. And then lastly, let's look at some Horns actions and variations here against Indiana. We have the ball screen set by Jokic, and then the weak side Horn guy is setting a screen on Jokic's guy, creating a switch and allowing Jokic to attack. This last clip here just shows how embedded these two-man games are within the offense. The initial action doesn't work. It gets kicked out to Jamal. They flow into a Horns, and then it's Jamal and Jokic playing off of each other. Now let's look at the advantages of using these two-man games within the offense. First things first, their spacing allows empty side rolls to be very common, and it's really tough to guard. We'll see great examples here. Jokic is going to set the screen, the porch moves to the strong side, and there's a shooter weak, so it's a really hard tag on the roll. This weak side being so occupied already makes Jokic get easy opportunities to just play in space and go make plays downhill at the rim or in the mid-range, like here on a short roll where they were occupied by Jamal. He got it on the short and is able to make a play late game. They also have the opportunity for him to be an elite pop man. Here we're going to get the ball screen on the empty side of the floor, and because of it being an empty side pop, it's really tough to guard, making the big move all over the place. But now to look at more Jamal side of things, there's a ton of gravity that Jokic rolling to the rim creates that guys automatically drift toward him to prevent easy buckets at the rim, and he's able to take these advantages head on. And secondly, they also have shooters off the ball that it's hard to really help in on, especially on drives where everybody's going to try to stay home, try to stay connected to theirs. And then Jokic already occupies so much gravity on the floor that Jamal's able to get downhill, get to his pull-up, get to the rim, create space for himself. And then at the end of the day, it also creates opportunities for their teammates that we'll dive into next. But how they space the floor, the actions that they put these guys in really allow them to play off of each other and be a successful offensive unit. But to talk more about the pressure applied and how it frees up their teammates, these two guys in action together is very tough to guard. They put so much pressure on the rim, and then they also put pressure on just the overall help side to be there on a dive, tag the roll, and also stunt at the ball because Jamal could get downhill and make plays, and just results in the ball finding open shots. They have shooters on the outside from Michael Porter Jr. to Caldwell Pope to Bruce Brown. They have guys across the floor that can go make plays, and Aaron Gordon as a porch man is one of the best in the league. This two-man game is so successful and a huge part of Denver's early success this year, and I hope this video sheds some light on their spacing, the actions they like to use, why they use them and the advantage they create, and also how it benefits the team as a whole. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something new about NBA offenses and specifically the Denver Nuggets two-man game. For more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you in the next one.